Scholes and Butt need to stop airing their real opinions on this podcast. I'll be real with you. The issue is I actually really like this podcast. When it came about, I was like, oh my God, this sounds sick. And they were telling stories about the dressing room and things like that. And I was like, oh my God, this is what we want to hear. As a Man United fan especially, this is the stuff you want to hear. You want to hear the juicy bits, what happened at certain times in, the 99 sort of treble winning season. Even after that, like what happened? What was the dressing room like? Who are the characters and things like that? Now, the thing is, these guys have influence. These are seen as legends at Man United, right? Especially Paul Scholes. And we've seen already this season, they have said things that have, compounding effects on the dressing room, or, pundits start speaking about it, questions are asked to the manager about certain things, and they say, oh, it's just like mates sitting in a pub. That's what they said. I get that. But at the end of the day, you have a responsibility just because of the position that you have been in. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. I'll follow basketball. Same thing with like Ja Morant. Ja Morant has done all this, showing a gun on like Insta Live, whatever it was. And unfortunately, Charles Barkley says something. When you are in a position where you're earning a lot of money and you're famous, you're in the public eye, unfortunately, you become a role model. You have power with your words. And that's what I'm seeing right now. And what kind of annoys me is, the latest thing that they've mentioned is like keep or sell in the Man United squad. Some of the stuff they said just doesn't make sense, especially from Nicky Butt's perspective. I'm going to pick on 3 players in specifically. Okay. Number 1, Lenny Yoro. Lenny Yoro was bought for, was it 50 to 60 million pounds? And he was courted by Real Madrid. Maybe we slightly overpaid just because we really wanted him over Real Madrid. And Real Madrid weren't willing to pay that much. This guy is like a generational talent. I have so much faith in Lenny Yoro just because there's a lot of good traits in him. And he's got that Wan-Bissaka thing where you feel like, oh, he's not going to get a foot in here. And he just like elongates like his leg and he just gets a tackle in. I love that stuff. That's why I love Wan-Bissaka. He's had his ups and downs. This guy, you got to remember, he is so young. He's not even 20 yet. This guy is going through a lot of growth in not just his physical attributes, but his mental, his just footballing attributes. He's going to make mistakes, and that's fine. And as a centre-back, usually centre-backs only get really good like in their mid-20s to late 20s. That's when they really mature and become amazing footballers. Look at Van Dijk, for instance. And honestly, where Lenny Yoro is right now, I think he's ahead of a lot of players that have gone on to be greats in the game. Even like Rio. Rio at his age was nowhere near Lenny Yoro. And Scholes said he would sell Lenny Yoro. Butt said he would loan him out. Obviously, Butt is slightly more sensible than Scholes. Why would you sell Lenny Yoro? Scholes even said Lenny Yoro could go somewhere else and like be amazing. Why would we want to sell him then? Are you dumb, bro? Like, this guy's so... this guy was part of the class of 92, where you guys had bad games, and you were given trust over years. It wasn't like, this... Lenny Yoro has not even played a full season for us, because he was injured in his first season. You guys were literally given years, and you played crap at times. And you're saying, sell this kid? Are you dumb? Are you dumb? And then Nicky Butt, who said loan him out, more sensible. However, look at our back line. You've got Martinez and De Ligt, arguably our 2 best centre-backs, both injury-prone as hell. Then you've got Maguire. Injuries started coming in a little bit for him as well, but generally all right. Okay, but not first team. Not first choice. And then you've got Lenny Yoro and Aiden Heaven. And then maybe Luke Shaw is like a second, like last option. Lenny Yoro is going to get games, especially next year, if we're in Europe, which it looks like we're going to be in Europe. Like, there's opportunity for him to get first team games here. Like, realistically, he's 3rd in that pecking order, in my opinion. Like, behind De Ligt and Martinez, I'd probably maybe even put him in the first. That's my personal preference. But I think he's at least knocking on the door for like that backup option as a centre back. And them two guys are never fit. You're going to get games. So I just didn't get the loan option. I just didn't get it. If De Ligt and Martinez were fit all the time, then I understand, but they're not. So honestly, Nicky Butt, respectfully, what the hell are you saying? Now we get on to Patrick Dorgu. And I get what they said. They said, we don't know what he is. I understand that, because this guy was brought in as essentially like Amarin's like first real specialist signing, I would say. And he was brought in as a left wing back because he'd played there a few times and played on the right as a right wing back as well, I think, for Lecce. And then obviously Amarin got sacked. And you're like, where does this guy play? Now, he can play anywhere on the left side, I feel. Like, we started deploying him as a left back at times in a 4, but then since Carrick's come, like, he can play as a left winger, where I think he did obviously very well for 2 games. Personally, I see him more of as a left back, but the one thing I don't understand is they said we should sell him. This guy's super versatile. He can do a number of positions. He can even play on the right hand side as well. And especially coming from Nicky Butt, who himself, specifically him, he wasn't a first name on the team sheet. He wasn't in the strongest 11. He was that rotation player, but he still got a hell of a lot of games for Man United. And sometimes you need them players in a squad. You are one of those players, Nicky Butt. You were one of those players for Man United. And you did a really good job of it. And Scholes was saying, yeah, but you know, if you're going to win like he started looking at it from the lens, like winning a Champions League and stuff. Yeah, but bro, we're not there yet. We're not looking to win the Champions League next year. This is a process where you have to go through iterations in order to get to that stage again. You're clinging on to the past so much. We are not a Champions League winning club or like challenging club. We're not there. We're just qualifying for the Champions League. That's where we're at, man. I think realistically, if we get into the knockout stage of the Champions League, that is good for us. Like, if we can either finish in the top 8, or if we have to go through a playoff and then get through to the knockout round, and then we can get through maybe to the quarterfinals, that would be amazing. But I think realistically, that's where we're at, bro. Like, we're not winning to build, like, we're not building to win the Champions League. That's not where we're at. And I just didn't get why they said that. I was like, are you guys dumb? And Nicky Butt, it just felt like, bro, you've been a massive hypocrite. Like, bro, you were that guy. We need squad depth. Like, you need that. You need people versatile enough to come in and, you know, they're not going to like kick up a fuss about starting every game. If you just have players who are just like, you know, first name on the team sheet players all the time, and you have too many of them, then they'll get annoyed because they're not playing every single minute of every game. Oh, so annoying. And then the last one just confused the hell out of me. Luke Shaw. They're talking as if it's Luke Shaw of like 2017, I feel. Even then he was not great. But Nicky Butt said, on his day now, he's the best like left back in Europe or whatever, or one of the best left backs in Europe or something like that. No, he's not. No, he's not. Luke Shaw had the potential to do that, and obviously he had that massive double leg break, which messed up his career. But then he did come back and he still showed signs. But that was like I said, that was 2017, 2018 max. Bro, that was 8 years ago, man. Like, times have moved on. He's moved on. He's not as quick as he used to be. He cannot, we've literally seen it in recent weeks. He cannot overlap anymore the way he used to. He hasn't got the pace, the engine. He hasn't got that anymore. And they said keep him. Out of them 3 players, you're wanting to sell the other 2, basically, get rid of the other 2 and keep Luke Shaw, who is a cripple. He's had a decent season in terms of he's played every game this year. Wow. All right, great. One season now, God knows how many. I think Luke Shaw's been a good servant for us. And look, I don't want to, look, I know injuries are hard to overcome and things like that. So I don't want to be like, oh, he should be like, you know, he should improve his fitness and all that. Yeah, he probably could do a little bit, but also injuries sometimes can just be, you know, just freak injuries and whatnot. So you can't put all the blame on Luke Shaw. But at the end of the day, he'd be, out of those 3, he'd be the one I'm selling if I had the opportunity to, for sure. Like, especially on his wage. Like, what the hell? And they said keep him. Like, they're literally living like 10 years in the past. Both of them, idiots. And I'm so disappointed, man, because Nicky Butt, but Paul Scholes, like, bro, I rate you so highly as a player, man. But some of the stuff that comes out of your mouth does not make sense. Oh, anyway, that's all I want to stress. I just want to chat about that. It is a Premier League today, actually. But yeah, remember, if you're liking this content, man, remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. All links in my bio to everything else. I will keep doing daily videos as long as you want it. Tell me what you want to see as well. There are going to be other videos, not just on about news and that. Like I said, we've got a little series coming up, so please do keep it locked. But until then, peace.